going to talk about basic Kata One and basic Kata Two at this point. I'm going to go over just some of the basic structural details that we need to really be looking at when we're teaching students, so that we can form good habits, and it makes good structure, nice and clean structure, rather than some of the sloppy, lazy habits that you see in katas oftentimes. And I'm going to give you a couple variations on movements that I've done, just depending on which style that I've done these katas with in the past. But it's important that if you're teaching them, especially if you plan on doing like a demo team or something like that, that everybody's moving exactly the same. But there are some general points with all katas that we'll go over with this. Okay, so basic Kata One. First thing, we're going to start from our pro position. And then we're going to bring the feet together and bow. Again, what I talked about in some of the other kata videos, when we bow, we want to make sure that it's respectful. Okay? Again, martial arts begins and ends with respect. So this needs to be as crisp and sharp as everything else in the kata. So we come in here, we bow, my torso is straight, my eyes are forward. Okay? I'm not coming all the way down to my waist, I'm not slunched over, my hands aren't out here, my head's not down. Okay? Nice, respectful bow, come up, go back to our paro position. Now the first thing we do is with every kata is we look before we move. So the first step is going to be to the left, so we're going to look left. Then we're going to chamber our arm for the low block that we're about to do, and we're going to step into a front stance, left front stance. Now, this is where there's some variations here. Okay? You can step straight from here into your front stance, your left front stance, and your low block. You can chamber, step right from here, and then shift the hips. Or you can come from this position, and when you chamber, bring this empty leg here and take that intermediate step into those. Both of those are fine. I think that's more personal preference. I've seen that done different ways in Taekwondo, Tang Soo Do, different arts, even Kyokushinkai, and that use these same basic 3 katas. Comes so paro, bow, paro, look left, left front stance, left low block. Again, we're upright, but my hips are here. It's important with the structure. When I'm in a front stance, okay, I'm going to use this plank here for my feet. If I'm here, I want to at least be, I like a little bit wider base here, but I want to be at least have a plank between my feet. My front knee, in fact, let me turn this more. In the front stance, my front knee straight up and down, right here. Okay? It's not like this, it's not out here, it's straight up and down. All right? And again, this is an important point. A lot of this structure that we're training students from the very beginning, this is the whole concept of training for immortality. Okay? You start making bad habits, as most of us know, you do this for several years, you're not going to have much left in your joints. Every bad habit that you have in these movements, it's going to start to take wear and tear from all these repetitive motions. Okay? So we need to make sure we're teaching them how to do it right. So from here, straight up and down. This leg is straight. The foot is at an angle in the back, but the heel is planted. The toes are pointed forward on the front foot. My hips, this is where I see a mistake a lot. My hips aren't open. Okay? My hips are closed. This is not right. This is a front stance, what some systems call a bow and arrow stance, okay? So when we do this stance, we need to make sure that we're checking our students for the structure as well as posture. I'm in a front stance. I'm going to be leaned over like this or whatever. Have them straight up and down. Again, when they do a block, as we've gone over, and I'll do more tapes on basic blocks, but when we do a low block, we don't fully extend the block. Okay? We leave a little bit of flex in the elbow. Let's make sure we're checking that. When it comes out, it's not completely extended, and it's not over here. Okay? They need to understand, if the strike is not hitting you, you've done your job. So there's no reason to deflect something further than the outside of your body. If you're going over here, it's wasted, plus you're leaving yourself open. It takes time to get that back, okay? So everything needs to stay within your framework. All right, now from here, from that front stance with the low block, we also want to make sure, as I mentioned in another video, that the chamber in hand is getting just as much attention as the hand that's moving with some kind of offensive or defensive movement. So here, I want to make sure that whatever force I'm putting into this hand, I'm also putting into this hand. See this a lot too. This one just kind of gets left over here, or it's kind of out here, whatever. It's being forgotten about because it's not being used. It needs to be used, all right? I like to tell them that just imagine every time that you're chambering that you are doing a rearward elbow, that is a specific move in itself. So from this position here, we're in our front stance, left low block. We're going to step forward, step through into a right forward stance, a right front stance, with a right reverse punch. This is another area where I'm not too picky as far as the punch goes, targeting wise. I've seen it done many ways to the chest or to the face. That I'm really not that concerned about that. It's the structure of the punch that I am concerned about. Okay, so from here, go to my left block. I step through again. I can step straight through and do the punch, or I can do that intermediate step, clear, and then punch. Either way is fine. Just make sure, again, if you're going to do a demo or something, make sure all your students are on the same page. You don't want people doing this, and then the timing gets off. It doesn't, the sequence doesn't look right. There's no synchronization there. Now, I would tell you, if you are going to do a demo, that intermediate step can help with them doing their counting as far as staying in step with each other. But that's just personal preference. So I'm going to do this to the front. So I'm here. I would be pointing that way. I'm here in my front stance, low block. I'm going to step forward into my right reverse punch, and right front stance. Now I've turned that foot slightly out. Heel is planted. Toes are pointed forward here. Knees straight up and down. Now I throw my reverse punch. Again, I don't really care whether it's at the face or the chest. What I do care is that my hips are square and my shoulders are square and my back is straight. My head is up, my eyes are forward, looking at what I'm doing. I'm not looking at the floor when I'm punching over here, okay? So I put this punch out here. Again, whatever I do with this, I'm giving this equal attention. Another thing that I want to bring up right now, because it becomes a big problem for this type of kata that's on the eye pattern, when they start to move up the line, up the middle of the eye, you start seeing this wave bouncing up and down, okay? You don't want to see that. They need to stay at the same general level the entire time. So when I come from here, when I go to my front stance, when I move into my next front stance, I'm not going to go whoop and then do that. Okay, we don't want to see that. All right. From here, we're going to keep it as level as possible. Move right into it. Okay. So when we go from that side, we're gonna switch to the other side of the leg. So we're here. We're gonna look over our shoulder. Okay? We always look before we move. Remember that. Now I do the intermediate step. So as I do that, I'm gonna chamber. And then I'm gonna step out and do my low block. Everything's set. Again, when you're practicing this kata, when you're going over it with your students, this is your time to check every single one of these mechanics, okay? Don't create bad habits by just saying, we'll get to it later, or, well, after they've been doing it for a while, they'll be okay. No, you need to be drilling these things from the very beginning. They will not get better by practicing it badly, okay? So here, boom, step through, boom. Again, I'm not bouncing up and down when I do this. Now, when I go up the line, I can either look and then step out, like I said, or I can do my intermediate step. This is an empty leg. Boom. I'm looking, I'm chambering, I'm stepping out into my front stance. Now I'm gonna do, after my low block, I'm gonna do my punches. And again, this is where, after the sequence of moving down this line, you start seeing that bobbing up and down. So you really need to pay attention to this in this area. We have some other issues we'll deal with basic Kata 3. So we're here, step through, boom. Step through, boom, and step through. We punch in Kia. I'm not Kia right now because my wife's busy doing work in the house. Boom, okay? So from here, we're gonna do our 270-degree turn to go on the other leg. I look, chamber, step out, boom. Go up the line, boom. Go up the line, boom. Again, every time I'm checking my legs straight up and down, my toes are pointed forward. This planted foot is slightly at an angle. Leg is straight, hips are square, shoulders are square. Step again, boom. Okay, now as I'm here, I'm going to do my 270-degree turn. Now, when I first learned this was in Tang Soo-Do, and I was taught to plant the foot. Now, not everybody does this. Okay, some people learn to swing their leg over, and that's fine. If you get the stance right, no problem. Okay, these little things are personal preference. And again, depending on your student, they may respond to a different way of doing it better. Okay, it's not changing the outcome. All right, so when I'm here, low block, punch, punch, punch. Come back here. I'm going to do my 270-degree turn. I'm going to step and plant, and then unwind. See how I'm not coming up, okay? Again, I am not planting my foot up, boom, and then up, boom, okay? That's when you start losing balance. Okay? They need to be taught, keep that head level. So I plant, unwind, boom. Do my front, or step through and do my front punch, or reverse punch with the front stance. Look over my shoulder, chamber, boom. Step through, boom. Again, each time, feeling and checking my structure. Look to the left, boom. Okay? These are the things you want to check every single time. Okay? Now, we all know how to finish the kata. These are not videos about the kata as a whole. I will make videos just doing the katas. These are just breaking down important points for us to check ourselves and to teach students. Remember, there's never a time when you can say, I really don't need to do kata anymore. Or, you know, I'm so good at kata that I never have to pay attention or check myself. No. Kata is something you do lifelong for body mechanics. You need to constantly be checking yourself. Check your structure. Be honest with yourself. Okay? As an instructor, you're the one that is responsible for you. Okay? You don't have your students telling you, no, that's not right. Okay? You need to be honest with yourself and fix yourself. Okay? And that doesn't end.